It's often said that the people of Utah speak a language all their own. It's a language that's often confusing and even incomprehensible to newcomers here in the Beehive State. So, Radio from Hell presents a handy guide to help everyone understand how the natives speak. It's the Utah word of the day. And today's word is
Moan. M-O-A-N, Moan. And now here's the mayor of Mona, Utah, Don Criddle, and his son, Denver Criddle, to use this Utah word in a sentence. The mayor has just returned home from a meeting of the Mona Town Council where the big discussion concerned the town's cremation policy and how it affects the Mona Cemetery. Again, the word is moan.
Hi, Daddy. How was the council meeting? What was the big topic of discussion tonight? Did you have to pound the gavel, Daddy? Did you have to have the sergeant at arms throw somebody out of the meeting? It's usually that old Bob Spooner that causes all the trouble. Did you have to throw Bob Spooner out again?
Well, whereas Councilman Spooner can somewhat be argumentative on occasion, tonight he was just the very model of how a Mona councilman should conduct himself. I think he was being civil because he wants to get buried on top of his wife, and he wants everybody to know that he's there.
Can people do that? Get buried after they die on top of somebody?
Well, you can't be buried on top of anybody or any other place before you die, son.
Silly Daddy, I know that. I just didn't know that you could put extra bodies in one hole.
Well, the Mona ordinance dealing with the interment of cremated people states that we allow 2 to 3 cremation burials on top of a family member who was buried at the cemetery.
Does it have to be a family member? Because I'd really like to have my ashes put on top of my 5th grade teacher. I really liked Mrs. Oliver.
It has to be a family member. And thanks for not caring enough for your parents to be put on top of one of us.
I'm sorry, Daddy. I just didn't want you and Mama to fight over which one of you I would be dumped on.
Well, be that as it may, the real issue at the council was of grave markers, you see. Right now, here the ordinance says that you can only have one marker or headstone per grave. So old Spooner, well, he says, when they put my ashes in there with Elva, nobody's going to know I'm there.
Well, that don't seem right.
No, it don't seem right, because it ain't right. So the council decided that we will keep it if you have 2 or 3 cremated folks added to one grave, and then they can each have a marker so folks will know who all is in there. But the markers have to be them flat ones.
Well, why do they have to be flat, Daddy?
Because of all the grass that's got to get mowed. When they get out there, mown, the mowers just go right over the top of them flat markers. Mown all that grass, as tough as it is. Well, I don't need their maintenance crews. I don't need them maintenance crews making moaning and all that about all the hard work they do.
Join us again some other time as we examine how the Utah natives speak with the Utah word.
True story.
Just
From the
stacking
pages,
them up and
from the pages of the what do they call it? The Juab paper, the Juab Times.
Bob Spooner?
Or
was that? Did you substitute the name?
Listen, you don't need to.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
All right.
They had it. I thought it interesting that they allow you to put. The thinking is, they said, because burials are more and more expensive and funerals,
Yes.
more people are getting cremated.
Yes.
And so they will allow you to put up to 3, I think it is, cremated remains on top of somebody who's already buried there. Thus, thereby saving you money.
You got to dig up the...
yeah, I was going to say,
Well,
so
you open the grave, yeah. And you, I don't know if you dump the ashes in there. You put it. I think you put put an urn down there in the hole and cover it back up.
But then, but true, you've got to now put a new marker there so you know who's there.
Can you just take a like a magic marker?
No.
Have a whiteboard. Your
whiteboard,
headstone
yeah.
is a whiteboard.
There you go.
And you just add to it.
That's not practical, really.
No?
When you think about it. It's not. Now you don't want the cost of having to carve new names into
Headstones are expensive.
I know.
Yes,
they're very expensive. And that's why I donated my body to the University of Utah. They're getting it next week, by the way.
Next week?
Yeah.
You're on the schedule?
Yeah. I'm on the pickup schedule for next week. Now, if I'm still alive, they cancel it. But they
But
just
it's
let me
good
know.
to be on the
Yeah,
schedule.
they just let me know once a month. You're on the schedule.
Is it a hand cart? Do they come pick you up in a hand cart?
Yeah, it's a
And then
bring out
Yeah.
your bed kind of a situation.
I don't really know.
And then they
how
just
do it.
wheel you up to the University Medical Center?
I don't know. All I know is that it's free. There's no cost. There's no cost to the family as long as you're within, I forget how many miles, like 50 miles of the U.
But when they're done with you,
Mm-hmm.
they cremate you, right?
What's left of you, yeah.
And then
And then if your family wants the ashes, they can have them. Or